the neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood. There goes the neighborhood.
Part of the documentary. All footage and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know if y'all have told you, but I do, like, I'm trying to steer away from the gang stuff because
It's played out.
like it's, like I told him, like when we do an interview, yeah, you gotta speak on that briefly because it's part of you.
Yeah.
But we don't even gotta do all of that because they know.
They know.
They know. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty much I'm gonna give you an introduction and I'm gonna give you your flowers. For a lot of people that don't know, you've been on YouTube.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I'm ready.
Yeah.
Man, tonight we have a special guest. He's a legend. He's been on YouTube, what I'd say, at least about 8 years? About 4 years. He's a Fort Worth legend. I do my research. We have Neighborhood Real in the building.
What's up, man? Let's appreciate to be here. It's a pleasure, and let's get to it and see what we got going on.
So we'll start right from the top. So where are you from originally?
I'm originally from Fort Worth, Texas. Originally from
Eastwood on White House Street. It's White House Street right here on Eastwood. This is my house where I grew up at.
And I spent my primary youth there until 12, and then we moved to the south side.
Okay, so you moved, and what age is this? What area is this?
This is like late 70s going into 80, 81.
So how is Fort Worth at this time?
And the dudes are like the older teenagers, high school, shit like that. They used to come right here and play football. Like different streets play each other. You know what I'm saying, on Saturdays and Sundays. And shit, this was it right here. A.M. Pate. I went to that school. And shit.
During that time, friendly, man, Fort Worth was pretty much family orientated, friendly. Kids would be outside playing. You could be 4 blocks away, they see you doing something, some grown-ups there, reprimand you, keep you in check, things like that. It wasn't really like a bad place to grow up. It was good for kids. And we were, pretty much the neighborhood was safe because everybody knew everybody. So everybody looked out.
And at this time, this is before what they call, they refer to Fort Worth as Murder Worth.
During that time, it was just basically Funky Town because of they had a guy, maybe you gotta be older to know this, but older cats may see this and they know who Jesse Hurst is. He would bring a lot of performers in the town because he owned a lot of nightclubs. So in K104 at the time, gave free concerts.
So I heard, now I'm 36 years old. Now I used to hear, I don't know if this rumor is true, I heard that Prince used to have a nightclub here, or used to live here.
I don't know about that, but I know that he's been here through the guys talking about Jesse Hurst.
Because also someone said they used to have concerts like at Sycamore Park.
Yeah, free concerts at Sycamore Park and the park across the street from the Butlers. Over there, they would throw the free concerts every summer.
Okay, so are you living here when that changes? Because they don't do that anymore. Right?
Nah, I moved away in like the summer of 81. I got in trouble, and then my mom, was readjusting from a divorce, so I was getting in trouble. So she was like, let me send you over here for the summer. Just get a break and whatnot. But it was the transition for the party town, which is the funky town, how it got the name. I was still going on at that time.
Okay, so where do you leave? Like, where do you go to when you leave Fort Worth?
I go second home, Los Angeles. Go to Los Angeles, California, and stay with my grandmother, and it just starts from there.
So when you went there, you said what, like 81, 82?
Yeah, I went in the summer of 81.
Had you ever been there before?
I've been going since I was a kid.
Okay,
all my life. So it's basically second home, like, yeah.
So compare the two places, right? So Fort Worth at that time, I assume it was still a lot slower than it is now, right? Versus LA at the time.
I mean, as a kid, how can you really just fundamentally say it's slower or faster? Because I'm doing what kids do. But when I did notice this when I went to California. They went to school year round during that time. They was going to school year round. They didn't have a summer break. They didn't have a winter break. So when I used to go out there, I knew that I didn't really have nobody to hang out with until they got out of school. A lot of people didn't know that. That was the difference about I noticed as a child being out there. They went to school year round.
Okay, so you go to LA, you're living out there. What part of LA are you living in?
In South Central, right off of Crenshaw and Florence on 9th, Florence and 9th Ave to be exact.
Okay, so for the listeners, right, and especially someone that's coming from my age group, how was LA? Because we see the movies, right? We see how it was portrayed back then on both sides, right? You obviously had kind of the crime wave that was going on, but you also had like the Beverly Hills Cop and like the way it was portrayed Hollywood during that time with the neon. And how was LA back then?
Wild Wild West. I mean, it was Wild Wild West, but I didn't see it fully. I seen snippets of it because my family, they was in the game, so and they was in gangs too. So when I would ride with them, I would see certain things that's that's unfamiliar in Texas. So you would be asking questions like, "What is that? Oh yeah, this is." And you see all these people hanging out in the colors, and the low riders. It's just a different environment. It's hard to really put it in words from that perspective. Being young, naive to that environment.
Okay, so when you're out there, are you seeing like the different cultures out there? That because I always notice, like I spent time out there, and I noticed that the culture there versus here, especially in Fort Worth, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of culture here as far as multicultural, right? You go to LA, you got Chinatown, you got Koreatown. You seem like you got people from all over the world are going there because of Hollywood. So you never know what you're going to see or what you're going to get into. Would you say it was more prevalent then than now with like the culture of LA?
I ain't for the lie to you. I didn't see none of that.
Really?
Yeah, because you have to go toward downtown to see all that. In South Central, man, all you seeing is blacks and Hispanics. That's it. No whites, no Asians, no none of that. The Asians on the store, pretty much not that many back then, but pretty soon they took over.
So in South Central, I know there's certain areas that are more like we would call like rundown, but what I noticed is a lot of the hoods out there, a lot of the houses are nicer. It's kind of a nicer environment. You got palm trees everywhere. But that's very misleading.
It is very misleading because it gives you the perception of something wholesome, something safe in the environment, but not really alluring to the fact that it's dangerous because you can't see the danger in it because of the trees, the palm trees, how the houses are, the pretty yards. You don't know that danger lurking right up the way. You don't see it. You know what I mean? Especially if you don't live out there. You don't know what you're looking at.
So when you were living there, what was your favorite thing to do? What is something that you could do out there that you can't do here? Besides going to the beach.
I didn't go to the beach then. Back then, the biggest thing I could do out there that I couldn't do here was like just ride the bus. No lie, just get on the city bus, on the RTD. And then because it just ran so much, you could go a lot of places. And that's how I used to go visit my uncle at his shop.
The buses out there, they run, they're 24/7?
They run 24/7.
Did Fort Worth have buses back then?
They had city buses, but they ran to about maybe the latest 7 o'clock at night, depending on where it's going. Most buses shut down around 5 o'clock. So at night, you stuck.
Okay, so you're living out there, you're in LA, you're back and forth, right? So you never experienced what they call like a culture shock, or like you're from someplace and then you move to someplace and it's completely different. So you kind of adjusted to that. Right?
Well, honestly, like I said, I've been going out there since I was a child. So we're talking like a little bit from a baby. So I'm spending a lot of summers out there. So, and going back and forth throughout the year, at different times, like, so we visited. So it's never like a shock to me. It's like, it's just home. Like, I know the place, I know all the neighborhood around there. So it's not shocking to me.
Okay, so when you were young, you know, everyone has an aspiration to be something. What did you want to be when you were young?
Shit, I wanted to be an electrical engineer. You know what I mean? Straight up. Because I like tinkering with electronics and, you know, figuring stuff out. So that was my aspiration as a child, to be an electrical engineer.
So like, were you in school, were you trying to take courses, or you just...
Hell nah. I'm gonna tell you what I was doing, man. This some real talk. My gift is from God, you know, being an artist. So I used to draw a lot. You know, of course, we live in a poor, you know, people doing decent. They ain't gonna do all that stuff. Get you the 72 box crayon, all the good markers, and you feel me? So I used to be like stealing my supplies from school to draw and enter contests. So one year I entered a school contest, and I got second place in the state of Texas in the 5th grade, where they put our drawings up in the Lyndon B. Johnson Museum in Austin, and I got a little plaque and all that, whatever. But that was my thing. Like, I like drawing. I could draw anything. That was like my part-time thing I did. But I never took a class for it. I just took the regular art class.
So you just naturally talented?
Yeah, it just came to me automatic.
Do you believe that some people are just born like that? Like some people they just can draw, or some people they're just more talented when they're born.
I think some people get gifts from God, and God give you something that'll take you through your life, that'll always be in a place where it'll sustain you if you need it. So being an artist, naturally just born with that talent, it also gave me cultivated different avenues, because being an artist is various things. You can be, you know, photography, just paint, acrylics. You can do movies, you know, write scripts. Being creative, that's using your mind. So it's always being able to create something from nothing.
Do you think, and we're going to touch on this a little bit later,
Right?
But do you think that has anything to do with like your astrological sign? Do you believe in that? They say certain signs are more talented than others. And I'm going somewhere with this.
I know. Okay, so I actually don't really believe that. I actually believe when you're born on a certain moon and the sun, and you know, at a certain time in the universe, it does parallel with whatever might have been going on in that moment, and you might have picked up some of those gifts or some of those things that was in the universe, that was just in the universe, just out there to grab, picked up some, you know what I'm saying, attributes to it. You know, you could have, you know, celestial attributes you could have grabbed. You never know. You know what was crossing your path at the time of you making your transition, and then everything was flowing. So it's hard to say.
Okay, so at some point you leave LA and you come back to Texas.
Right.
You move back to Texas, right? So around what time is that?
Man, I did a lot of moving around. But coming back to Fort Worth, I came back November 90.
And so was there a difference between when you left and when you came back?
Heck yeah. See, majorly. Like, I came back and I was looking at all my friends, and the city was like, man, y'all slow as hell. Like, you know what I mean? Man, y'all slow in country. What the heck? You know, it is funny because it's like, I'm from here. But it's like, I came back with the mindset of LA, that mentality, but I also came back with, these still my friends, these still people I know. So I want them to know what I know, experience what I experienced. I was trying to like speed them up, but it wasn't working. If that makes sense.
No, understood. So at this point, this is when Fort Worth is what they call murder worth at this point. It's kind of full-fledged, or it's getting there.
Nah. It wasn't murder worth at that time. But I'm gonna say it started turning murder worth that coming into 91. All through 91, you had a few people was calling it murder work. That's what, you know, because it was so many killings. But it wasn't behind no gangs though. It was just a drug thing, you know what I mean? The crack and all of that. So it played a role majorly with a lot of deaths.
Right, so a lot of people don't know Fort Worth, before all this, there was the Kingpin era. They had a lot of Kingpins in that area.
Yeah.
Okay, so you get back to Fort Worth, and Are you trying to draw still? Or are you trying to do the electrical engineering?
Yeah, I'm trying to hit the wall up with the set. Yeah, it's about to fall. I'm gonna do some drawing. You know what I mean? At that time. But when I come back to Forward, I really came back. To be honest, like I told people before, my mom was sick, so I really came back for her, just to be here for till she get well, to get back to work, and then boom, I'm going back because I still had an apartment out there. I didn't move back here permanent. I just was here to take care of my mother. That's it.
All right, so do you want to talk about your incarceration? We can just.
I was just probably.
Okay. Because so the reason why I want to ask is, and you'll see what I'm about to touch on is, you did a lot of reading in there. You sharp, you know what I'm trying to say, and that's where I'm going to get into the. You'll see. I'm going to get into.
Yeah. Hold on, let me say this. Like you kind of like. Let me see. Should I say it? What you think? Kind of get more detail what was going on during that time before before the game started up or not?
Yeah, that's why I say this. Your disclaimer.
I'm trying to. Anything you don't want to talk about?
I'm trying to. I'll talk about a lot of stuff. Right. She'll tell you that. I'll talk about some shit that has people mad, but I don't know. It's just I'm just letting you know that I'm open to talk about it if you want to kind of like what was going on, this and that. We ain't naming nobody, so
right.
You know what I mean. It's cool. Like
yeah,
I can only and I can just say this is my disclaimer for anybody listening. This is not what I'm saying is history. Right. This is my life. This is what I experienced. This is how I seen it from my perspective of it. Like I'm not saying nobody right or wrong, but I know what happened. You know what I mean. This is what I lived. So take it like that. You know, it is.
So around the early 90s in Fort Worth, you mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you really started to see like a gang culture kind of hit the streets of Fort Worth.
Okay, this is my disclaimer to anybody watching this video, right? And I'm not sitting up here saying that I'm speaking of authority as a historian, but I'm only speaking for what I lived and what I seen. When I came back in November 1990, there was no gangs. There wasn't no gangs, at all, other than the north side with the Mexicans. The drug trade was moving real hard. Were there gang members or different organizations coming to Texas, into Fort Worth? Yes. Was people in Fort Worth actually gang banging or accepting the gang lifestyle? Yes, but they wasn't fully understanding it. So, like I said this before, you can go buy a pair of Dickies and a t-shirt and you own. You can say you own. And nobody can question it because nobody have no real-time information of what it entails or what it is. So it was people, I'm gonna use the word, people was emulating gangs, emulating the Crip culture because that's the most prevalent thing. And what did we hear most on songs? Rolling 60s, Great Streets, B&G, Hoover from movies. They don't know at that point that what they're gonna take, what they're claiming has multiple fashions to it, right? So no, it wasn't no gang. It was more drug gang related. Let's say that, drug gangs.
Yeah, because prior to coming back to Fort Worth, you're in Los Angeles when it's probably at its most.
I'm at its peak, and I'm gonna say this, and I stand on this. I started gang banging in '82 all the way till I came back till I got incarcerated. And I went through the 80s, and if you didn't be out there in the 80s, it don't count to me. That's my statement. If you was in LA and you wasn't free during the 80s, don't tell me nothing. I don't want to hear it because you got to survive that. You know what I mean? And that was one of the hardest times to be in the game because it wasn't I'm gonna just do this and hustle and I'm gonna just do this. No, everybody got to be a part of this. You know what I mean? If you wanted to be down, you had to get in the mix. You was forced into it. So everybody had an obligation to it. So it was the aid, the assist, the obligation, and it was the camaraderie and the love of it. So everybody loved their neighborhood. Everybody loved their set. So it was, and the crack is there, and the money is there. So it's a lot of war going on. A lot. It wasn't no today's jump in and tomorrow we cool. No, it was all day long, 24/7. Guaranteed. You got to be with it. if you was out there, you had to be with it.
Okay, so for the listeners, could you describe a normal day in LA in the 80s? Just for you, like a normal day.
A normal day with me, get up get up in the morning, you know, get dressed, suited up. That's what we gonna call it. We're gonna get suited up, and I'm gonna hit the block. So when I go to the hood, the first thing I do every time is I used to look at the house when I stand out there, and I'll be like, I'm gonna come back no matter what. You know what I mean? Because I already know what it is. You know, you finna get on the battlefield, and you don't know how the outcome gonna turn, but you know one thing: your determination is to do whatever you're gonna do today, and then make it back home. Under all circumstances, you know what I'm saying? No matter what it is, you got to get back home. So,
how hard would you say it was to grow up in that environment?
I don't think nobody grew up. I think everybody became what they call it, man child. They're man child. We all had to act like grown ass men dealing with situations that we're not equipped to mentally. We're not equipped to deal with this. We're thrust into situations and circumstances that forces you to act as a grown ass man and make grown ass man decisions. You know, that's ultimately may cost your life or cost somebody else's life, or you know, you just gonna be part of the situation that whatever may come will come. You just really don't know. No kids was out there in my age group was riding no bikes and talking about going to the prom and all that. They were talking about that. Talking about like, shit, who's gonna be on the block and what departments we gonna meet up in, you know, hanging in the park.
Yeah, I think that's a culture that a lot of people don't understand. I feel like a lot of people are fascinated by it, and this is why you see a lot of this currently on the internet. There's a lot of topics that, cause I feel like there's this fascination with this because it's something they don't understand.
Okay, so I'm gonna be brief about it. This is what people don't understand about the LA culture for gangs go. They thinking gang only. It started gang only and it became family orientated. You my brother, you older than me, you from the set. I don't even have to get courted in because you my brother, you already own. All I gotta do is pick it up and do it. Because you my big brother, I got rep. I got a little rep with your rep. So it become a family thing. My daddy is this. My mama might have been from over here. So it becomes a family tradition. So women have children, they braid their hair, they put them in pigtails, they do this. The father show them how to hit the setup. We dress in the crib in blood attire. Like, you live in this neighborhood, you part of this. So kids, as little kids, babies, 2-3 years old, they're already getting conditioned and ready to get out here on this field. It's a family thing. It's not considered a separate culture from family. It's integrated, if that makes sense. They integrated that lifestyle into a family thing, you know, into a family structure. Let me be more precise with that. So I think, just to end it up, this is why I think the confusion comes in, that people thinking, I just go join the gang, I might be scared of dudes in the neighborhood. No, my daddy from the gang, my grandpa from the gang, my uncle from the gang, you know what I'm saying, my auntie from the gang. It's family. It's not something I had to, you know, like get forced into. I grew up with it, you know what I mean? Just like we grew up with our family, values and stuff. That was the values of it. So, if that makes sense.
Oh, for sure. What do you think spread the gang culture from LA, the blood and crip culture? What do you think was responsible for this spread like a wildfire? Like everyone wanted to be a blood or a crip at a certain time.
I'm gonna say 3 things. First, Hollywood. Hollywood spread it. They put it out there in the eye of, you know what I'm saying, of the public in other states. Crack was the second thing. Crack moved it across the country. The third thing is, like you said, it's the fascination of it, the curiosity of it, the lifestyle, the camaraderie. Because when you really look at it back in them times, you seen that bond amongst the homies, or those particular homies that was Bloods or these was Crips. You see the camaraderie. Who doesn't want to be a part of some unity? Who doesn't want to be a part of something that's big? everybody aspire to be a part of something that's great. So back then, when you're outside looking at it, it looks awesome. It looks great. It looks like this is something to do. You don't know the inner workings of it, though. You know, because they don't show that. They glamorized it in Hollywood.
So when you're out there at this time, right, in the 80s, did you ever think, when I go back home to Fort Worth to visit, or I go back here to live, that I'm ever going to see Bloods and Crips in Fort Worth? Or are you thinking like that at the time? Because they didn't start spreading till maybe around that time, if I'm not correct.
Okay, wait a minute. Like, rephrase that again.
So when you're out there in LA in the early 80s, did you ever think that you would come back to Fort Worth and ever see that same culture in another place?
To be honest, just dead ass honest, probably didn't even know I was gonna live the next day. So how can I think about seeing something in another state, you know what I mean, where I'm from or in my city, and I'm not even sure I'm gonna make it through the day? You know what I mean? That's not even on my radar. On my radar is trying to get back to, you know what I'm saying, the 7313. That's what I'm trying to do. You know what I mean? That's all I see every day. So that's as far as I'm thinking. You know what I mean? That's just dead ass honest.
So the LA riots happened. This happened when you're back.
Yeah, April '92 or April 4th on my mom's birthday.
Did you see a lot of that, the police brutality and all that stuff that was going on back then?
So that's why I say, like, it's crazy because when people outside looking in, they don't know the day to day. So back then you had, just in our hood, you got Lennox sheriffs rolling, you got Crash rolling, you got DT rolling, you got undercovers rolling. You got all these laws out here rolling the neighborhoods. Crash, you know what I'm saying? They're starting a lot of shit. They're pulling up, and Lennox, they putting you on that hot ass hood. Like, if you don't put your hands flat on that hood, man, they're gonna bang you up with them sticks. You know, and if they feel like they want to really just be on some BS, they'll just cuff you up, take you over on the other side, drop you off in an enemy neighborhood, and uncuff you and let you out. You know what I mean? They don't have to whoop on you. They'll drop you off somewhere. They know you gonna get smashed on. So it was a lot of violence with Crash, Lennox, the sheriffs, undercovers and DT, not so much. But basically, yes, sheriffs and the Lennox sheriffs in our area, in 77 when I lived with my grandmother, 77 notorious. But Crash in 77 and Lennox, Firestone, yeah, they hard. They gonna go hard.
So fast forward, you come back to Fort Worth in the early 90s. You say it's not really jumping off just yet. When did you actually start noticing, like, that culture was really coming to the city?
It's November 90s, so I'm gonna say right before the summer of 91.
And like, what did you think when you first seen it here?
I didn't think shit. I was still on LA time. I was still on South Central time. So if I see somebody sagging or with a flag, I'm pushing up on them. You know what I mean? What's happening? What set that is? Like they say it or whatever. And I'm like I said, my mentality's still there. So if it's a set I don't get along with, I'm gonna use this name and, you know, whoop, like whatever, and charge them up. Then they be like, man, I don't know, I'm so. And I'll be like, man, you gotta pull your pants up and give me that rag. Don't let me catch you out there no more like that. You know, because I'm thinking, this is where I come from. This is just normal stuff to me. So to see other people trying to do it, I'm thinking like this. Oh yeah, so y'all gonna do that here, huh? Okay. You know what I mean? Like I'm rubbing my hands like, ooh, this gonna be good. But at the same time, I start realizing these dudes are getting into this and really don't know. And then that's when I like turned it off. Like, now let me pull up, cause let me turn that off, cause I'm gonna get into something and I'm gonna do things that's gonna really be messed up. So I turned it off.
So at that point, you kind of just left it alone.
Yeah, if I see anybody dressing, I ain't tripping, cause I gotta look at it this way. I turned it off to look at it like, these people I grew up with, they ain't never did nothing to me. They ain't never did nothing to the set. So why am I tripping? Like, why am I bringing that to them? They didn't ask for this. They don't even know why I'm doing this. So yeah, let me turn that off. So yeah, I shut it off after that.
So at some point you get incarcerated. So you had been incarcerated in California previously.
Yeah, county jail time only.
So in LA County, they say it's rough.
Yeah, for sure.
So you come back, you end up going to Tarrant County, you go to TDC. Man, I gotta ask this question. Just
Ask away.
What is worse, TDC or the LA County jail?
LA County, 100%. 100%.
And you were in TDC when it was in that rock and roll era.
That last part of that era, yeah.
And what unit were you housed on?
I went to Dionysus and then went straight to Cofield in Tennessee College.
And I know back then Cofield might have been the worst unit.
I think at that time, I think Ellis, it might have been Ellis 1, Cofield, then Darrington. Yeah, at that time.
So now you're in prison, right? And because I assume this happened, right? You're locked up. You get locked up in the early 90s. So when you probably start seeing the Bloods and Crips, they start to kind of fall into the prison system, right in TDC. So this probably happens. Well, I think about like the early 90s, 94, 95.
95.
Now you being from Fort Worth, but repping like an LA set, right? Being in Texas prisons, did you stay out of the way of the politics?
Nah, I mean, when I got to Cofield, it was 5 Crips and 1 Blood over there. Everybody else didn't even know what that was. They were tripping because we were talking about the gangs in the street. They were like, what? Y'all got gangs in the street? So when everybody started coming, and then, you know, especially Fort Worth, it was gang infested, so this is more the majority of people coming. They'd be like, hey, you know such this person? I don't know that person, bro. I only never heard of them. Because there was a gang banging when I was in the street, so I don't know none of those nicknames. So you meet them and be like, oh, I know you, or you find out this is somebody's cousin or little brother or some stuff like that. So, of course, I'm a Crip at the time, so I'm going to be like, yeah, that's what we doing. We locating or what? So, as time going on, you got to remember, this is me being honest, I still got all this animosity in me for these sets that we don't get along with. So it's taken a lot for me to interact with dudes during that time, because again, and this ain't no discredit or nothing, I'm saying this openly, I'm not discrediting nothing. It's just a lack that they don't know what certain things, they know something, they know a lot, they just don't know what certain things mean. What I mean by that, I'm gonna give an example. I see a dude, he from another set, everybody get along, Crips get along. He'll hit me up with his set. That's a way of greeting me. But in LA, that's you telling me, F me. You know what I mean? When you do that. They don't know that, so when do that, I'll knock their hand down. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. And they would be like, man, you tripping. Woo. And I'm like, no, don't do that. It used to trigger me. You know what I mean? Like, and I had to like learn to discipline myself a lot. So I kind of like stayed to myself some, because sometimes the dudes didn't know I'm not talking to them. I'm not gonna tell them like, bro, you're gonna make me zone, like flip on. You're gonna turn me on and I'm gonna be tripping. You know what I mean? And it's hard to battle that when you didn't need it for so long. You kind of like trying to keep it dormant, you know? But yeah.
And how much time did you actually get sentenced to?
I really got screwed up. I got signed for a whole 30 years, flat, day for day.
Did you end up doing the whole 30?
No, I got kicked out thanks to repair for not taking the stimulus package. I got kicked out early. So I did 22 years and 4 months of that 30-year sentence.
So when you're incarcerated, and this is what I know, like, I know you did a lot of reading.
Right. So
were you always into reading? Were you always into knowledge, or this is something that you picked up when you were?
Okay. This is how I started reading. True story. I'm in lockup, and I'm next door to this white guy, and he gets a lot of books, magazines, newspapers. I'm over there giving the laws to business, like, because you know you're young, you thinking this is what it is, you're trying to get a penitentiary reputation, ignorant. So one day I hit on the wall and said, "Hey, look out, old school. Let me read one of them books." He was like, "Nah, you don't want to read that. You just want to keep messing with the laws and causing problems." So I'm in, cuss him out, whatever, go on a little time. So one day I'm just like hit on the wall, like, "Hey man, let me get a book." He sent me an anatomy book. So when I got it, I was like, "Man, I'm looking for a novel." I slid it back, and he said, "You wanted something to read? Read that." He said, "You got to read what I give you." And I was like, "Man, I don't want to read that." So a little more time go by, I get in some trouble, I get jumped on by the laws, I get kind of like hurt real bad, and I'm kind of thinking to myself, "Hey, I better chill out. People will kill me back here." So I kind of toned it down. We kind of started having a conversation. He slid me that same book again. So I was like, "Screw it, I'm gonna read it. It's an anatomy book." All right. And I started reading it, and it fascinated me. All the stuff I didn't know about the body. And then he just got me on my journey to read. He get the books, all the magazines, he slide me a book. You know what I mean? And I just read them. And then just started from there.
What were your favorite type of books?
I like military books. Me personally, I like military books. I want to read about the war. I want to read about kingdoms. I want to know how people rule something. I like to read about war because I come from war. You know what I mean? I used to tell dudes, they be, because I be saying stuff funny and sarcastic. Like, "Well, I'm a war veteran. What you mean, fool? I just come from the concrete jungle. I was out there warring." But I'm really saying that sincerely, but I'm making it funny. And I would read these books, and I would be thinking, I would be intrigued by how they were strategically moving in the books, how they did this. I was fascinated by that. You know what I mean? Like, I want to be that person. I want to know how to do that. So I wasn't reading those love novels or things like that. I read books about religion. I read science because I like science. I like engineering, so I'm gonna read stuff like that. Art books, of course, to tighten my skills up, learn something that I didn't know. Literature, I used to read the dictionary all the time. I used to read the dictionary a lot. And I didn't even know what the thesaurus was. I didn't even know what that was at the time. Just read the dictionary.
No, the reason I brought this up is I've been following your YouTube career.
Right.
And one thing that kind of stands out with you over a lot of people is you don't let your past, you don't let your gang affiliation, none of that defines you. Like, I see you get on camera and you can hold conversations with any topic on anything. And a lot of the stuff that you talk about is intellectual. It's about stuff that a lot of people, it's like they don't even know.
Right.
It's like you're kind of, when you jump onto a live sometimes, you're opening their eyes.
Right.
And some of these people are already pretty highly intellectual people. And it's like you kind of step in and you can kind of tell who just took control of the room,
right,
with your knowledge in it. So, when you were in the penitentiary, did you start to notice that? Like, when you were reading, did you start to understand, like, oh, I'm learning a lot more, and you started kind of putting the pieces together, connecting the dots? Because a lot of stuff you say about religion, and even about, like, the science, I feel like they all go in, they all tie together.
They do. When I started, oh man, I don't even know if I should say that shit, but I'm gonna say it anyway. When I strategically started moving behind the scenes of dealing with dudes because of different things that made it transpire with me in prison, I kind of started moving in a different sense. I wasn't so much the group thing. I wanted to always stay individually so I can use my ability to think and create my own scenarios and hold a situation, because as a group, and like this ain't no shade or nothing, as a group, as Crips, we powerful, we ran the unit. But to me, it kind of overshadowed a lot of individuals, because I mean a lot of great individuals as intellectuals, and that Crip title overshadowed us. It took away from our individuality. Prison takes away from your individuality. It wants you to be in a group setting. I refuse that. I refuse to be in a group setting. I refuse. So I kind of like fell back from the crip as a whole. I'm with it, but I'm like, I'm over her. Because why? What mainly did that? I was the only person from my set there. Nobody's from my set. So I don't have no ally. I don't have nobody to kick it with. So everything I do is on me because I want to. This is my dumb mentality, right? My immaturity. I wanted to have the reputation on Cofield that no matter what I got into, I dealt with it first by myself. Then if I needed to go get the homies, I could. If that makes sense. So that's how I started strategically using what I was reading, and I'd be like, I'm gonna test this on somebody. You know what I mean? And try it and see if it works or not. And then I just build on it from there.
What would you say are the top 5 books that everyone should read? They don't should be like mandatory, like you have to read this book, if you really want to be successful in life.
Oh man, I ain't for the lot. There is no books I read that make you be successful in life. To be honest, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you I read 3 or 4 books that that made me think, let me see, let me do this. I'm gonna tell you what made me do that. It was what I was experiencing before I got there. I know what it's like to be around celebrities. I know what it's like to be around people that's millionaires. I know what it's like to be in poverty. I know what it feels like to live in a row house and the ceiling about to fall in, and you there and it's despair and it's fucked up. I learned from my experiences, the things that I was putting myself in. That's where I got that from. That's what made me look at my life once I started becoming mature and saying, you know what? Do I want to keep doing this? Or do I need to be who my parents actually raised to be? And the morals and principles my family instilled in me. Because I got that, but I don't want to use that because, we're thinking that, lame, you square. But to be honest, bro, no lie. I read some books that kind of put my thinking up there. That you want like that, but what put me on my road to get on my journey, I had to go back in the past. I say this all the time. All your answers in the past are what you have already done to tell you where your future gonna go. You might have to go back there and get them because you didn't see them then. You didn't see the situation that way. You had to go back and look at it. So that's what I did.
Right, so you come home, or you say you ended up doing 22 on a 30. So what did you do when you came home?
Be mad as hell.
Yeah, now,
don't lie. No,
what was
I'm
your
pissed.
mindset?
I'm pissed off they let me out because I don't supposed to be here. I'm trying to figure out why did I get kicked out of prison and I was supposed to be doing 30 years. I wasn't ready. Who told y'all to keep me out here? I wasn't ready. You know what I mean? My mind wasn't like when they did it, bro. They literally kicked me out of prison. I wasn't ready. I didn't have nothing. I'm working to 30 years. I got 8 more to go. Well, my mind didn't stop thinking about being free. 1998. Ain't thought about being free since 98. So they threw me out here. I was pissed. And they put me on the monitor. Because my paperwork said no monitor, but they put me on one. So that made me hot. I was like, what? Hang on, man, I'm going back to prison. Screw this. 3 weeks later, driving around, see something, be like, I'm tripping. I'm staying. You know what I mean? Like, I'm staying. I'm tripping. Why would I want to go back? But yeah.
And you ain't went back.
No, I ain't went back.
And you become very successful. I'm not going to get into, but you're very successful.
But you can. Well, I think that's important for people to hear because there may be some information they need.
I have a 30-minute time.
Yeah.
So, you own your own trucking company?
I do, but I don't do nothing with it right now.
How easy is that to do?
It's not. It's difficult as hell. It take a lot. It take a lot of dedication, a lot of time. It take really understanding business management. It take really honestly 1,000% it take you, your determination, your motivation toward what are you trying to really accomplish and how are you going to accomplish that, and are you going to let anything deter you from that? So, and you got to know your lane. So what I mean by that for people that may be listening, I would work for people. It's cool, I like it. Then I did my own thing. It didn't work out so well. It's good, but it didn't work out like I wanted it to. So I look at the headache, the stress of it all. It's better to work for somebody. I can maneuver better in my life. So that's what people got to figure out. Where are you going to be at your best to be able to utilize all your skills at the top level, and you got to put yourself there so you can always win. That's my theory. I want to always win. Okay, if I got to work for this guy for $15, but it makes me win, I'm going to go do that. I don't care what nobody says. They may be looking at it this way because they don't know what I'm actually doing. They don't know I'm over here running a job. You know what I mean? Like, I took the job and I get in a position to do what I need to do.
So, with the trucking industry, I had a question about this. So, unless you go outright, like, buy your truck, right? And I'm not in this industry, but I know people that are, and I feel like from what they've experienced, there's kind of like a misconception unless you do it a certain way. He went through a training that a company paid for, and he didn't make very much money.
Right.
It took like years and years for him to make money. I think he made, I mean, some of these checks were like $300-400 for a week, because it's like, I don't know how all that works,
Right.
but it was like he was paying back to school, and then you can't leave, and if you go to another company, so there's all this. But so many people are successful, right? You always hear the stories of people driving trucks, and they make a lot of money, but you have to build up to that, or do you just have to go buy your own truck and just start your own shit right off the bat?
Disclaimer. Educational purposes only. They lying. A lot of people sit in, they make it look good, like they get money in the trucking game, and they actually live in pillar to post. They actually going out here taking loads to do whatever they need to do to make the bills, because when you own a truck and you got maintenance and you got to put all this money into that truck, if it breaks down and you're not making a certain amount of money and you only got one truck, and you thinking in your mind, I'm gonna be a boss because I got an LLC and I'm gonna put somebody else in the driver's seat and I'm gonna control the flow of the money and I'm gonna take the big end, you're just gonna be basically screwed and doing musical chairs with a bunch of drivers. And then I'm over here fronting, wearing Gucci belts and stuff like this, and you know, me and my Benz and big house that I'm about to get foreclosed on in 6 months. But yet I'm just being real. I was talking shit about, you know what I'm saying, pumpkin. You know what I'm saying? You work for this to do it, man. You need tripping, boy. You need to do what you want. No, you're tripping. I see what really go on with the trucking. It's cutthroat. This is worse than the dope game. If you want to know what being in the trucking industry like, put the dope game on 25. Cutthroat. People are out here lying and saying, I'm making millions of dollars. But when you really investigate it, they're not making millions of dollars. You may be millions of dollars in debt. But if anybody listening, you want some good game, here goes some good game. Go to the Workforce Commission, get your CDL for free. They're sending you to school. It might take a couple months to get on the list. Oh well, get in there and do your thing. Second, if you want your own trucking company, get your own LLC, set it up, put it under a trust. Third, guess what you need to do? Go lease your trucks. Don't buy no truck. Go lease the truck. That way you don't have to pay for the maintenance. All you do is the PM and do the tires. That's it. You get all the money. You pay the insurance, you pay the note, and the rest of the money yours. Build your business off of that. Get you another truck, lease that. Then you put you some drivers. But don't never stop driving. Always be the number one driver. Don't never rely on somebody else to do what you can do for yourself and build your own money. How you gonna depend on somebody else to have the same work ethic that you got and want to have the same goals and achieve the same level of life that you want, and you the boss? But I digress.
So, to anyone that's listening right now, that maybe came up the same way as you, that went through some of the same struggles that you had, right? What would you say to them if they're going through it right now?
Dig down and look into yourself. Sit down somewhere and let all the noise die down and figure out where your strengths at, and figure out what your weaknesses are and what's hindering you to move forward. And if it's something that has something to do with money, addiction, family, a girlfriend, you got to put all that to the side, because that's only monetary things that you can have. Because at the end of the day, if you can't sustain yourself and have your spiritual peace and elevate yourself spiritually, you know what I'm saying, mentally and emotionally, you are not going to be equipped to deal with all those things that you shouldn't have in your life if they're hindering you. You got to be at a certain level and a certain comfortability with yourself. You got to be okay to say, hey, I'm flawed. Look, it's okay I don't know everything. It's okay I failed, because you never really failed. That's just the game they ran on us to tell us, like, don't do it again. If I do something and it didn't work out, then if I come to it again, now I come to it with some experience. Because I already tried it. Now I just got to figure out what is the niche to this, or what is the right piece to put in that place. And then I can make it happen. I can see the whole picture. So anybody that's been through something, find you somebody that you can rely on and talk to. If you don't have nobody to talk to, it's okay, man. Just talk to yourself, talk to God, because your God is inside of you, and just your inner spirit. And the times when it get rough, that's who you really gonna have to rely on. Your inner God. You're gonna have to tap into that, and you know what I'm saying, and lift yourself spiritually. And if you do that, and you find peace with whatever goes on around you, whatever level you at, can't nobody rob you of that. You're gonna be rich, because now you get to invest in people, and you put the interest in people, that pays back dividends 10 times fold.
So before we get out of here, I got 2 questions, and I ask everybody this.
Right.
The first question is, what is your definition of a gangster, and what is your definition of being real?
Somebody asked me that. Okay. So they said, if you do this, you're a gangster. This is a gangster. My definition of a gangster is, the true definition, you're not bound to one activity. What I mean by one activity, you're not just a drug seller. I wasn't just a drug seller. I was taught to be universal. I knew how to sell drugs, but I also knew how to run some cum. I also knew how to go boot some clothes. I also knew how to do some till tap, and I also knew how to steal cars. I wasn't set in one spot. I was taught to have different multiple avenues to maneuver in, and I also was taught this as a kid amongst older men that was out in the streets and grooming us, because you couldn't be in the streets unless you was vouched for. Somebody had to vouch for you to be out here. But I was always taught, be universal even in your conversation, being able to go in any environment and blend in. You gotta have that, and if you don't have that in you, then you can't honestly say you're a gangster. Because one of the most gangster things I think I did in my life. Get out of prison, sit, drive around. I'm not gonna say the job, because I don't want the people tripping. Pay somebody else that's a felon work there. I got a monitor on, and anybody know me, know what I went to prison for. And I'm talking to multi-millionaires in the back seat. And I'm telling them, we having full conversations, and I'm in my head, I'm giggling, because I'm like, well, if y'all knew who you was in the car with right now, you wouldn't even be talking to me. And they're giving me their phone numbers, and they're like, man, I need you to come get me. Like, they think I'm the greatest person in the world, because why? I took time out to be universal. I wanted to learn something about everything, and I knew that I want to be able to get in any circle that I wanted to get in. So if I want to go talk to Donald Trump, I can go talk to Donald Trump. You know what I mean? Like, if I want to go over here and talk to, you know what I'm saying, Scooby-Doo, then I'd be Scooby-Doo. You feel me? Like, you gotta know. You gotta be universal, bro. That's gangster. When you can move like that, that's gangster. Being real, I learned this in prison. 2000, before my mom died, say about 2004. I was on meeting cousin, we was having a conversation, and we was talking about real niggas, we need some real niggas and this and that. And then I said, bro, you know what? I don't even like that shit no more. I ain't no real nigga no more. They was like, why? Why you saying that? I said, they over there looking at us talking about they real niggas. We hoe ass niggas. And then we're talking about they hoe ass niggas and we real niggas. What is the definition of a real nigga? You know what I mean? Like, what is the real definition of it? Like, if you do some violent act, and I did the same violent act, what made your violent act more real than mine? What defined it? What thing stood out the most in those identical situations that you did that was more realer than me? Where's the definition? So we've been tricked because why? We got programmed, and then we got programmed by our parents and our grandparents, and then that came from that Bible, because the first thing, knowing the religions, because the first thing you want to do is have you done and programmed to believe this, chase this up here. Don't look at this around here. I need you to look up here, because I don't need you to see what I'm doing down here, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I'm gonna have y'all thinking, I want you to look at him and say he not real. But he gonna look at you and say you're not real. Again, guess what? Why do you be friends with people? Because you know why? You look at them and you see they got some of your same character traits. Right. They got your same ideology. Right. They got something about them that you see in yourself. So this is why you link up with them and you deal with them. Right. Because of that, that is the energy that y'all vibrate on the same level, and you're attracted to that. If you wasn't attracted to something that's familiar to you or similar to you, you wouldn't deal with it. That's why we only got friends on certain ways. But people don't even understand when we out here doing stuff in the street, it's the same thing. I'm only gonna interact with the people that's moving the way I'm moving. You ain't my friend if you ain't out here doing this. Right. So again, does that make you my friend, or does it make you real? Does it make you just we emulating something that we've been lied to and given this false narrative to think that this is how it really go, but in all actuality, we supposed to be soldiering for us spiritually. We supposed to be vibrating together spiritually. We supposed to all be soldiering together, not against each other. Right. We don't even have a definition. So what is? So I'm gonna ask anybody write in the comments. Tell me what the definition of real is, because I don't know. It ain't no real. It ain't no definition. It's what you make it to be. And does that make it right? Because I know your definition of real right now, my definition of real, they different.
Right.
Yeah, so we right.
And I feel like the reason is really what you just said is your definition, being real with yourself. Now, there's a textbook definition, there's a street real, there's a real individual. I mean, there's different levels to this, but being real is being real with yourself, to me. Being real with yourself. Now, I believe in certain values and standards, right? Like, mine is blended in the streets. You got the streets and you got the real definition of being a man, because I am a man. You know, women, their definition of real is going to be different because they have, you know, they're the nurturer, right? They have different characteristics that we don't have, right? Mm-hmm. So I feel like being real to me is just being a real man, and then taking care of your responsibilities, no matter what it is, whatever lifestyle you're in. You know what I mean? And standing up, taking accountability. You know what I mean? So if you're out here in the streets and you're doing that, you don't tell on nobody when you get caught. You got to take accountability for what you did, right, as a man. You know what I mean? And then maybe you get to come home, and then when you come home as a man, you can take accountability for your mistakes, and you can move on. Right. You get what I'm saying? I feel like being real. It's for me, it's being a man.
Okay, let me piggyback off that then. We can shut it down on this then. I think being real is a man too. Being a man for yourself first and foremost, regardless of what somebody else say. Right. Regardless if they frown on it, regardless if they stop being cool with you. At the end of the day, I gotta face me. I gotta look at me in the mirror every day. Right. So I think the second realest thing of just being a man is, and this is like the number one thing to me, is being able to walk away. That's one of the realest things. That's one of the most gangster things you can do. Right. If you can walk away, I don't care what the situation is. If you can hold your head up and keep your character, your conduct, and your integrity, and walk away. 100%. You know what I'm saying? No matter what the situation is, no what the circumstances call for, whatever's going to happen in that altercation, if you know that who you are solid, 100%, I can walk away because I don't lose no points.
Right, and this is the thing, is why are you walking away? This is where...
Because I'm a man first.
Right.
And I'm not obligated to respond to you, because if we understand the universe, I'm moving as a force of action and not a reaction. So therefore, when I'm standing in my true essence as a man, only thing I do is act. Right. I don't react. I act. So what's the act? Do this really deserve my action?
100%.
No, I'm gonna just walk away. Because that action right there might save you, pork chop.
100%.
You know what I'm saying? Even though I don't eat pork, but I like to grill some shit. I like to grill some shit. Like, don't do it. You feel me? But a lot of people will not do that for the sense of, I'm trying to impress you. Who are you?
Right.
Who are you that I owe you to throw my life away or throw away my morals and principles to keep you as a friend? If you my friend, you're gonna send me whatever I do. Now there's gonna be some things we can't accept. Let's keep that in play. I ain't saying that, but there's some things that you can do that will make me not deal with you as a man. Not on standards or these false pretenses of what Bravo is, what gangster is, what real. If you ask me, bro, ask me, I'm just some real shit. When I was out in the streets, I thought I was doing some real shit. And then I sat down one day, I was in lockup, and I was thinking, damn, all the real niggas locked up. You know what I mean? And then I heard one, they was talking, and the old school dude was talking to me like, yeah, man, I'm a 3-time loser. And I think about, I used to hear that growing up. And then I started thinking, man, I'm a loser. You know the realest thing a motherfucker could have did? Stay free. Stay free. The real motherfuckers is free. I'm not no real. I'm locked up. I lost in the game. The real ones still out there playing the game. But we looking at them like they the suckers. No, we the suckers. We the ones got the clown hats on. We the ones that gave away everything. We the ones, you know what I'm saying, sold out. We the ones turned our back on everybody. How can I say you, I'm not gonna respect that shit like that no more. So I started understanding what it was. And I could tell the bro, what you wanna be me for, bro? I'm a loser. I lost in the game for 22 years. What you want my knowledge for? So you can be a loser too? You know what I'm saying? That's all I can teach you from that. Is how to be a loser. But I can tell you what I can do once I got free. I can tell you how to stay free and how to get on top of your situation for yourself. If you're willing to fight for you, you gotta be able to fight for you first. I can't do it. You know what I mean? So it's like, who we living for? I'm living for me, bro. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what they don't like, how they feel about it. At the end of the day, I gotta look at me in the face. Oh shit, bro, my bad. And I gotta deal with that. Because when it's all said and done, what I did is what's gonna be left. And if I don't leave no fruits, then guess what? I'll be back to live this life again in another body and won't even know I was here. Destined to repeat this cycle until I figure out how to get out this ring. Until I figure out how to do the right moves and make the right corrections. Until I figure out how to tap into my godlike abilities. I'm gonna be stuck here.
That's what I call a mic drop. You know what I mean?
Yes.
When you drop the mic, and you're just like, yeah. What you think?
Shit, I'm chilling. We can keep going if you want to.
Yeah.
It's up to you. You got something to do? I'm on her time.
Yeah, we can't let crank it back.
I mean, hoping to get you a 3-point series.
That right there, see, I don't know if you see what I was like. I want to go, when I bring people on, I want, like, I don't want it to be based on.
Really?
No. So, what would you say is the hardest thing you've ever had to deal with?
My mom's death inside of prison.
Yeah, that's gotta be rough. How far, like, were you a couple years in? Were you about to come home?
2006. So I already been in that point. 2014. So going on 14 years.
So, going through that, did that change something in you?
Hell yeah. A part of me, half of me died. So it made me start looking at prison like, let me stop playing. You feel me? not saying I'm literally playing, but it made me take on, like, I did all this and this what happened. You feel me? So,
What about the friends?
I gotta fix that.
Okay. Now, was that so? At some point, you decided, was that the turning point? Because I feel like everyone has a turning point in their life.
Nah, I had a turning point before that. I had a turning point in 2000. I was in lockup arguing with a dude upstairs about Washington, D.C. I used to live out there, hustling. And we argued for 2 hours. I'm screaming about to lose my voice, sweating and shit. And then I said, go inside. And you know, how you like, hey, fool, how you know? You don't even know what you're talking about. He's like, I read it in the book. What? Now I just feel, I sat on the toilet. I got to be the dumbest motherfucker in the world. I'm up here arguing about to lose my voice, sweating and shit. And he read it in a damn book. How the fuck did I end up here? That was that moment, like, yeah, I was gonna do something. You know what I mean? I won't never be back to this shit again. Like, this is crazy. That was the moment. That aha moment. Like, yeah, I'm stupid. You know what I mean?
So, this is something that I've been trying to push, right? Because on this channel, the gang stuff is talked about a lot, right?
Right.
The clear message, I feel like sometimes it doesn't get out, right? So, to anyone right now that is thinking about joining the gang, what advice would you actually give them? And what made you join the gang?
Okay, let me answer the first part of the question. What I would tell a youngster that want to join a gang, I would tell them that you don't want to join a gang. You already in one. You feel me? Your family is a gang. You know what I mean? You a gang. You can present yourself as a joint venture if you understand who you are. Understand that when you're in a gang, you don't have no friends. When you're in a gang and you get locked up, the gang won't be there. When you're trying to date your girlfriend and a couple of dollars short, you want to take her to the movies, the gang won't give you no money to the table. You know what I mean? When your mama died, the gang not gonna give you no money for no funeral. You know what I mean? It's cool, it sound good, it look good, but you gotta remember, you're gonna get older one day. Are you still gonna be in a gang? Like, what happens when you wanna have children, you wanna have a job, you still wanna be in a gang? How you gonna be in a gang if you're trying to change your life or do something better with your life? So it's better to start now with your family, be a gang with your family. Right. Love your family because they're the ones gonna be there if you get locked up. So you rather do them right, be loyal to them, because if something does happen, you're able to have that love, that, you know what I'm saying, that care for from them. You know, joining a gang is not the way to go in life. It's all surrounded with negativity. That's all it is. It's negative because in this genocide, why would I tell you how to be a part of some genocide? You know what I mean? I wouldn't. So I wouldn't tell them to go find religion, because I don't know the kid. You gotta know their belief system, who they are. But I would encourage them, like, if they feel pressed by any friends or people that may feel like they're bullying them, they can come talk to me and I can help them. Like, I'll go talk to them, or I'll go fix it for you, or I show them how to, be man up for yourself and handle the situation a different way without using violence, without getting into altercation with them. Because the biggest thing you can do, and I'm gonna tell any kid, when you can outthink your enemy, you're more dangerous than anybody with a gun. That's real talk. You're more dangerous when you can outthink a person, because anybody can go shoot a gun. But no, anybody can think. So that's what I would tell a kid. But how I joined the gang because my uncle was in the gang. He was the first Crip I ever met. He used to come down when come to Fort Worth, Texas, and visit his father. And he'd be throwing up the seed, and he'd be talking about rolling the seed. First he was talking about West Side Crip, because that's what he had on his arm. And then he started talking about 60s. The 60s really formed. And that's how I got introduced to the Crip, through my uncle. So my uncle was a nice sized dude, a formidable sized dude, you know, stocky, you know, buffed up, fly as hell. One of the flies, big dudes I ever seen. And I just admired him. He wasn't a father figure to me, I'm not gonna say that. He was just a person that commanded respect. He commanded your attention, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? So being that he my uncle, I get, you know, the little nephew treatment. So as you see him maneuvering through Fort Worth, how people respecting him, he don't live here. Like I was wondering always why they do that. It's like they pay homage to him. You know what I mean? And so when I got to LA, this is a true story. May he rest in peace. You know what I'm saying? D-Money. My uncle got a cookie and crack on the seat in a Malibu. Got a cookie and crack on the seat. He's serving, just breaking it. I'm in the car with him. First time I ever seen a freaking dude serving. He broke off. The dude hit the dude and tried to grab him, you know, like Dr. Doe on my uncle's hand. My uncle grabbed him because the butt grabbed him like this, just floored it. And I'm in the car like, you know what I'm saying? He pushed the dope over me like, hold that, so it don't fall. And yeah, he took the dude down the street and he did his shit, you know what I mean? And I was, at that moment, that was the first time I was ever terrified of it. I was like, damn, take me home. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to go back home. And I wouldn't be around him. And then I'm out and I'm just seeing it. Like, the respect. Like, why they do that? Why, you know, like, and that fascinated me. And I was like, I want that. I want that respect. So I started emulating it. I started picking up the lingo, the body language. Not so much the violence, but because I don't want to know what the violence looked like at that time. So I just went on, bro. He was my idol. So he was my blueprint. So, you know.
And this question I'm about to ask, I've asked a few people, and I have, you know, I was taught something when I was younger, I was told something, but I want to ask this question, because no one's ever answered it the way that I was told, but what's worse, a real gang member or a wannabe gang member? What's more dangerous?
Both. Because both got the potential to do something that can be detrimental to you. One of them can be, the wannabe can pretend to be, he's really down and put you in a situation where you have to defend yourself and you can possibly lose your life or go to prison forever. The gang member that's really down, he can make a bad choice because all this is motivated, driven off hatred of somebody else, and it's not founded in nothing but truth. Because we don't really know how we got, this is just some deep shit. Like, we don't really know how we got in. I asked this question, why we beef with them? Like, what happened? It goes so far back, nobody really don't remember the story. So it's really, so coming in, being in the gang, starting from being from the set, let me say that. Being from the set, I had to learn, like, why we hate them. I didn't understand that, come from Texas. What they do to us? Why we hate them? Why y'all hate them? What does that mean? And you know, you have to learn, this is a learned behavior. Real shit, it's deep. To be a gang member is okay. But to become a gang banger, that's a learned behavior. That's something that either an incident or the people that you're interacting with, they're gonna instill that into you. And then once you get that poison, that disease in you, it just festers. And now you starting to feel like they feel, because you didn't know that feeling at first. And that feeling is not a good feeling. It's not a bravo thing. It just festers and it just eats at you, and then it starts to build that hatred, and that hatred turns into that animosity. That animosity starts fueling you to go and keep going at that. And you wonder, like, I don't want to know why we hate them. I don't want to know what the reason is. I just want to go do. I want to show y'all that we ain't going for it. So it just fuels you. And once you get ignited, it's really hard to get that disease out of you. You know, it takes other incidents to, like, break it up so it can dissipate to a certain degree, but yet you still got it. So yeah, it's deep. So either one of them can be a dangerous, you know what I'm saying, to you depending on what the situation is. But then the flip side, they both can goddamn be an asset. It just determined on the situation. Because really, you know, who can say what's worse, you know what I'm saying, versus this to that. Only the situation's gonna determine that they put you in. This gangbang might not never put me in a dangerous situation, but this wannabe will. This wannabe might keep me in some cool stuff, but this gang, like, cause he fueling with that, he got that hate festering in him. So we're gonna constantly be into something. So I want to say it, it's situation to situation, person to person. But I think both of them are dangerous.
Thank you. Cause I've asked that multiple times, and
Nobody knew that.
see, what I was always taught was like Mom used to say, and the wannabes are kind of worse because they'll go. See, like he was made right in the Gambino crime family,
Right.
And he said the wannabes, them the ones that'll go kill 50 people just to get a chance to say hi to you,
Right.
just to shake your hand.
Right.
But they'll put their whole in for nothing. But he said
Yeah.
that's also the way that culture works.
Right.
It's like you gotta put work in to even be able to talk to certain people. Like they won't even let you shake their hand
Right.
unless you done kill people. You know what I mean? So it's like, but he used to always tell me like, watch out for the ones that are playing too much because they're the ones that will. They feel like they got something to prove. The real ones don't got shit to prove. You just don't test them. You know what I mean? It's like, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, my shit, it's pretty much done.
It's dead.